Okay, hello and welcome back to Bench Press. Okay, today is a very special day of our podcast because we're doing the last episode of Bench Press today. Are you guys sad about it?
Of course.
Wait, are we getting cancelled, Dika?
No, of course. But how many episodes did we?
I think including episode 0, that will be 8.
8, right? Yeah.
8. Yeah. Yeah. In this very last
including episode 0, it will be 9 episodes.
9 episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the 9th.
Wow.
This is the 9th episode. Yeah.
Oh my God, 9 episodes.
Imagine
That's a long
we
way
made
to
it.
go. Congratulations, guys, we made it. So yeah, on this very special occasion, we want to throw back a little bit and talk about what did we do during the podcast, and also maybe we can also talk what did we learn from the topics, and also what did we learn from the conversation that we sparked during the production of the podcast. So yeah, maybe so.
I guess we can go first with sharing like our experiences making this podcast possible.
Yes.
Because especially aside from Dika, we're all first timers here in this
We
podcast.
are all first timers.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what we were doing.
I realized that having podcasts doesn't mean, you just talk, but you have to prepare every single material.
Yeah.
It's a learning
Yeah.
process. So maybe,
It is.
so you guys have probably seen our progress from episode 1 to episode 8, is it? Yeah, right. Hopefully there's improvement.
I think we did have.
Yeah, we did have. I felt we did have a significant improvement. Maybe from the first episode we did cut a lot throughout the episode, but now we just talk on like 30 minutes and nonstop.
But we have to admit,
Yeah.
like during our first few recordings, it was a
Yeah.
bit stiff for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Well, actually, but the viewers might not know this, but we're uploading the episodes not in the order of like when it was recorded.
So,
Yeah.
So,
we don't even know
you
which
can-
episode is which, right?
So you can figure out which one is first, probably.
Yeah.
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 We're,
Since
go ahead, Dika.
so go ahead, Andrew.
Weird as it might sound, for me, one of the biggest challenges that I faced is actually stage fright, even though we don't have stage here.
Yeah.
I've never really been a good public speaker, especially in English, and putting me on the spot, as you can see, maybe from the very first opening episode, I had a hard time improvising. But yeah, I think I grew along as the podcast, episodes come, and hopefully you can see it. Did you
great
guys
for
face
you,
any?
Andrew.
Did you guys face any like stage fright as well, or any other?
Stage fright, not particularly.
Yeah, stage fright, not much.
But I guess if you're talking about since we're talking about challenges, I think one of the challenges that we had at first is coordination, because we are a multiple host type of podcast, right? And especially since we're doing it online through Zoom, sometimes there's lag and everything. So sometimes we at first. I think in the first few recordings, you kind of had to like figure out who's gonna talk next, and because everyone is thinking who's gonna talk next.
Yeah.
Nobody ends up talking because yeah,
It was like a
That
dead
happens.
silence.
yeah.
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 But I think like in addition to that, we also like had a hard time in terms of, I think it's for me and for everyone as well, but especially for me and Joe, when in terms of technicality. Because we tried to, if you guys remember our interview with Tripti about the Indian farmers protest, it was a different type of like a video because we interviewed her in like actual. So during that time, we faced a lot of technical issues. And we were just really thankful to Tripti that she was really patient with us throughout.
Tripti, if you're watching, you're awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tripti.
I think like that's one of like the toughest time, and it was one of the few episodes that we first recorded. That's why maybe it was really really tough for us. But yeah, there's a lot, and also we also have the I think problem in terms of time.
Yeah.
Time management or what?
No,
time
I mean
or
like time difference.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, true. So yeah, basically, yeah. I felt this because yeah, me and Andrew basically is in Jakarta, which is 2 hours behind of Japan, which makes sometimes Aki and Joe have to stay late night for us, and also maybe not only that, because probably Aki also, Joe have his school, I have work, Andrew has his work as well.
Yeah.
The time and to find the time, the perfect time for recording is
everyone.
it's kind of hard actually, because sometimes I do have how do you say zangyo,
Overtime.
overtime. Yeah, it's pretty hard for that, but yeah, we did it in the end.
And even
Yeah,
sometimes.
there's a lot of like learnings through it as well.
True.
Yeah.
Experiencing these challenges.
Sometimes we also had to deal with our surroundings, as in like Dika
Back
maybe
and
had like prayer sounds, or Aki had like her
My dog barking.
in the background. But all is good. All is good. We did learn a lot. Yeah.
All is
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
All is well.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
like
yeah.
throughout the recordings, we slowly gaining our confidence in like talking, discussing the topic, how do we go the flow,
Yeah.
which is like very like fulfilling as well.
Yeah.
Seeing each one of us like
Yeah.
grow, or I
Yeah.
mean like improve.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially with our casually serious episodes. I think that we also learned a lot from that. We were very compared to like, let's say, episode 0, we were very natural.
We weren't.
Yeah.
It was like
We
the
were?
stiffest, I guess.
Episode
Which one,
0.
episode 0? Oh yeah, episode 0. Because episode 0 is like basically our very first
First.
recording.
We
Right?
even had to retake like several times, right? On episode
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least we made it until to episode 8.
We made it.
Yeah.
To the
Yeah,
closing
despite
one.
of Dika's internet as well. Some.
No, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like even sometimes my internet kind of lags. So like if you know, I don't know how the editing is gonna come out later. But if you notice like a long lag with me, you're like, you know what happens. It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Dika.
Yeah, no
Thank you,
worries.
Dika.
This is the perks of doing podcast
Yeah.
online and long distance, I guess. You just have to go with it. Yeah.
But these are the things that, I mean, like internet like problems are the things that you have to face, especially in this time. Even it's not
Yeah.
only us, but also in reality, since especially everyone is like working at home.
Yep.
So I mean, like at least we overcome it.
Yes.
Proud of
Yay!
us.
It was fun. I really enjoyed recording
is,
this.
it
To be
is.
honest, yeah.
That's good
Anyway,
then.
I think we should move on. Like, of
Yeah.
course, we had a lot of experiences, but in terms of like the discussion we had throughout all the episodes, I want to ask you guys the learnings you've gained throughout this episode. I mean, like podcast, especially in
sec-
peace.
Ah.
What did you learn? What are like your new realizations, new learnings?
I guess with regards to peace, for me personally, rather than I guess changing perspective, is more like reinforcing what I've learned. Because I mean, we are all international relations students, even though my focus is not on peace and conflict. But I think at some point in our studies, we do learn about peace and conflict studies because it's a very integral part of international relations.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that we talk about here that make me realize, oh, this ties back into what we learned in class, you know. For example, I guess since we're talking about peace, there's also violence, right? You can't really talk about peace without discussing violence.
That's true.
And like so I think Andrew mentioned that there are many layers of peace, and it's also many layers of violence, right? So like if you know peace studies, you know that there are 3 types of violence, right? Direct violence, structural violence, cultural violence. So we would take, let's say, for one of our examples in one of our episodes, let's say bullying. Of course, I didn't mention like cultural violence and stuff because we want to keep it like a bit more casual, right? So like if we tie it back to that, I can also say that, for example, with the case of Indonesia, where if you remember, like we mentioned that in Indonesia, bullying is a bit institutionalized, where the upperclassmen would join this organization called OSIS, or I guess that's the student council here. And they would use that to like bully the freshmen. And then when I asked like them why they want to join the student council, and most of their answers were, oh, because we were bullied when we were freshmen, so now we get to bully them. So like if you tie it like that to like a more academic discussion, you can tie it to like cultural violence, which is basically your way of thinking or an aspect of culture that justifies a violent behavior. So yeah, stuff like that. Like a lot of things that we talk about that make me realize, oh yeah, this really like coincides with what we learn, you know.
Yeah, and I think like the other, as Joe mentioned, we also have like direct and structural. But direct one is the one we all know, like the one we always see, the violence that we always like physically see, such as like police brutality and many other more. And in terms of structural violence, I think it focuses more on like the issues of poverty, inequalities, or like matters that is being discussed in terms of, I mean, like within, if you try to, I know everyone's familiar about the Sustainable Development Goals, right? So most of the violence probably you can base on the SDGs, because like trying to end poverty, trying to gain equality within the world. So I think that is where you can relate structural violence for me. It's just the easiest way to imagine it.
Well, I mean, looking back, I think for me, the idea of peace kind of, as you work, I graduated like probably half a year ago, almost a year ago now. And you kind of forget most of the things you learn. Like it's on your mind, but you don't think it constantly. So it just kind of stays there, And then once I joined this podcast and had a lot of conversation with like a lot of people who are very knowledgeable about a lot of topics, I kind of reminded once again that the idea of peace, the concept of peace, they exist on different levels. They exist on, the stuff that you do on a daily basis, such as bullying, like you mentioned, and there's also even peace existing on higher scale, like maybe on a national scale, like the case of Myanmar, and national identity, for example, as well. I guess, these kind of conversations are very, very important because it can be very dimensional for you to just live with your life and not having this kind of conversation that made you realize that life is not all about your work, for example, that things exist. I don't know. That's for me. How about you, Dika? Maybe?
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, Andrew, I think it just reinforced my mindset throughout to peace. I guess peace is not only. I always take peace as granted, I guess. But after having the conversation with you guys and also the guests, I think it just broadened my knowledge to think that peace it consists from a very little, from a very, from a very little thing. Like you can always see peace from each aspect. So I think from this, as Andrew mentioned before as well, I've graduated half year ago, and I think it opens my mind that we should all think about peace. We should have a conversation to peace so that we can somehow contribute maybe a small amount that we can do to peace. Yeah.
And
Yeah, like for me.
oh yeah, go ahead. Okay, sorry.
You're saying? No, I mean, like, I just want to add to what Dika's saying, like, how peace is seen, like, in our everyday lives. Like, for me, throughout this podcast, there are a lot, I mean, like, there's some realizations. I realize how, like, the definition of peace evolved throughout time. And not only peace, but also the meaning of violence, because you know how peace and violence is always correlated to each other. And like, if you try to look back in the past, before achieving peace is through ending wars, right?
Right.
Because there is where the violence is, which is the direct violence. But then after we achieve peace to ending war, we still faces a lot of violence. That's why we cannot consider like living in a very peaceful world, because we experience the problems that we experience after the war is poverty, inequality, problems in terms of education. And now in the modern time, it's not only like the poverty issues that we face, but we also have like a new world, which is the internet. Wherein like there is a violence also happening inside it. And it's another like different, like how do you say, like type of violence, since it is not something that is happening in the real world. It is something that is happening all in the internet.
Right.
Like how we discuss the cancel culture. Everything is happening in the internet, yet you feel threatened.
And also bullying. I think we also mentioned about like
Right.
cyberbullying, like how at least when I was at school, I mean, I didn't have we do have like social media, but like I didn't use it as intensely as we do today. I think a lot of younger kids today are using it more intensely than we did in the
Especially
past.
with the
Yeah.
pandemic, right? Quarantine going on.
Yeah, especially with the pandemic. So like the cyberbullying is definitely something that I guess the younger generation would be facing more than we did when we were at school.
Hashtag more relatable.
Hashtag.
And also I think that since we're doing it like with I think we 4 plus 1 guest, I think the important part of achieving peace, I guess, is to have many inputs, so that
Right.
Because I think peace is not one way. I think it's like, how do you say it? Very it's a
like
two-way.
multifaceted, as they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, so while we're on the topic here, like I was just gonna share like my what was going through my mind when we were recording our cancel culture episode. So like I realized that we didn't, like, among the 4 of us, we didn't have someone who's like very pro cancel culture. Right?
We
So, like,
somewhat
when-
understood and agree with the idea of cancel culture, but
Yeah.
the execution of it, right?
Right. So like when we were recording that, I was really trying to play this devil's advocate kind of thing, because like I guess that was also, I guess, my personal struggle as well, because there was a conflict between what my opinion and what I'm trying to say, like for the sake of argument, right? So like yeah. So like I think it was really important to try to get like opinions from the pro cancel culture side as
Yeah.
well into discussion, so that we can see like from both perspectives. And I think speaking from all perspectives, I think that's a very important part of peace.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the important part, right? Discussion. And what Dika mentioned, I mean, like a few moments ago, I think about
Yeah.
the peace. We take the idea of peace on everyday basis for granted. It rings very true to me, because I realized that what we don't experience right now is probably what other people experience, and you just don't realize it sometimes. You just, and for me, it's just like I'm dealing with my stuffs every day, and I don't have the time to think about your sufferings, maybe, but it exists. So, I mean, this podcast really brings a new light to something that I once learned, and I kind of just, forgot about it.
Right.
And it's also like good to, hear others' perspective.
Right.
Because you always learn something new. Because we always, I mean, like, no matter how interested we are in a certain topic, it's like we will always have our own, like, opinion that in ourselves, like, oh, no one can change it. But if you try to listen also to others' perspective, you also realize that, oh, they have a point. What they're saying is also true. So I shouldn't, like, close my mind into, like, a very one-way thinking. Because I think that's where problem comes in, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's what I remember Joe saying, the importance of having a conversation. So I think, like, it is true. It is really important you have, like, someone where you can, talk about this kind of stuff. Because I mean, like, it's a really important thing as well.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, next question. I have a question for you, for y'all.
What was that?
How do you think you can contribute to peace?
Oh, wow. Oh, damn.
Because you learn about all of these stuff.
It's like answering a Miss Universe question.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But we don't have the beauty and we don't have the power to do so. But
maybe
we have the
one-
power if we want
Maybe
to.
maybe one thing that we can contribute to peace is doing this podcast, I guess. No?
Okay. What do
Share
you
this
mean? What do
podcast
you
with
mean?
everyone.
Share this podcast.
With as many people as possible.
How do you think you can contribute? Use the share button.
Okay. Anyway.
But anyways,
okay,
Dika, you
Dika,
want
go
to
on.
elaborate?
Yeah, I think, by doing this podcast, I guess, I think we can spark, like, ideas to other people to know that there is this kind of topic, this kind of thing happening in the other side of the world, and discussing it, and just to open up their knowledge that it's not like maybe you live in this part of this world, you couldn't happen what people are suffering on the other part of the world. I think from this podcast, I think that is one thing that is maybe a very little contribution towards peace, I guess.
Right. Yeah, right. And I guess we can also think, like, we should start small. Like, for example, again, like, when we think about peace, sometimes our mind will go to something like,
Big.
war, or something big, something like war. But then, like we mentioned in our bullying episode, peace and stuff related to peace can also be found in your direct environment, like bullying, for example. That's also like a matter of peace, right? So, like, start from your surrounding environments. Start from try to tackle issues of peace in your surrounding environment before you try to, like,
Go bigger.
before you try to go big, right? So, and I guess one of the easiest for me, I would say, again, like, to have a conversation, right? That is one. So, like, try to find, like, people with opposing views, and try to, like, talk to them and try to understand, like, of course you don't have to agree with them, but just try to understand where they're coming from, so that like, if they're wrong, maybe you can try to persuade them, because I've seen, like, so many people who's like, okay, I don't want to have friends with I don't want to talk to people with that political view. Like, if
That's true.
if you support this president, or, like, if you're on this side of the political spectrum, you can unfollow me, you can block me, or something like that. And that's just creating, like, more conflict, because, again, with the internet, there's something called the echo chamber, right? Where basically you get a lot of when you search the internet, you get results that are basically similar to what you searched
Believe
before,
in,
and that is what you believe in, right? And that's why there's a lot of things like the Flat Earth Society and everything, but we're not gonna go there, right? But what I'm saying is, like, try to understand people whose beliefs do not coincide with what you believe in, and try like to understand them and try to learn from try to understand them. And if you still think they're wrong, then by learning from them, that will actually help you persuade them better into what you believe in, instead of saying, I don't want to talk to you, and like, go screw yourself, go screw yourself. You have a different political
it doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah, it doesn't solve the problem. So like, talk, like, have a conversation.
And also, you don't have to, attack each other.
Right.
If you don't, have the same opinion or like understanding, you don't have to attack each other and like, use hurtful words towards each other. Just try to be more respectful. If that's how they want to understand it, it's okay. But you don't have to, go overboard attacking them, insulting them because of having a different belief. And also, like, for me, if it's for me, how I could contribute, or like, how could I contribute in achieving peace is through I probably using my voice and my knowledge. I have a lot of like, it's not only me, but we all have a lot of platforms that we could utilize. And it's not very hard to, share very important information or helpful information to others. And by through having like utilizing the social media accounts, then we can somehow, slowly create changes by educating by inspiring or by merely like, sharing them like what things they should, know, or like the things that is happening around them. So I think as like Dika said, start small, or as also Joe said, you don't have to go big. Just start from what you have and utilize it in a good way. How about you, Andrew? You asked the question. What's your answer?
Asking this question kind of brings an old story to mind. When I started uni, is it 4 years ago? Jesus, I'm old. 4 years ago, I remember I didn't have any political knowledge whatsoever because of my backgrounds, and but that is like a different story. And I learned a lot, from my major, international relations. I learned about politics, and that there is a lot of things going on with politics. And nearing the end of my uni years, I remember a lot of people are calling me and few others a very like in the middle, very manaka person, right? And at that time, I was just I believed that I didn't have like a very strong maybe opinion on something, and that's why I am very in the middle. I'm very manaka. But now I realize that for me, I think conversation is very, very important. Just because you don't have a very strong voice on one side or against the other side doesn't mean that you are easily swayed by others. Doesn't mean that you haven't done your research. Like Joe and Dika and Aki mentioned, I think we do have the platform to share what we believe in. And for me, I think one of the method that I can contribute to peace is by doing my own research on, topics that are prevailing right now in the world.
I just have a quick question, Andrew. You said how you are into very manaka, or like in the middle, right?
Yeah.
But is it you're in the middle because you're like afraid that if you go on one side, you'll that you'll be judged by others, or your your decision will be questioned by others?
I mean, obviously that plays a part. I don't want to lose friends on both sides in a way. But at the same time, I do think that, if you truly believe in one side, doesn't mean that you can have conversation with the other side. And I don't know, in Ritsume, in IR, sometimes people are very, like polarizing topics can be very I don't know, dangerous.
Hot issue.
Yeah, like it's a very, very dangerous issue
I
sometimes to
know.
step into. So
Here's
in a way, I'm kind of glad to join this podcast and can have conversation with people like you guys that doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, you're not
Heated
with
one.
me? Fight me,
Yeah.
kind of.
Now, what you said about polarization is also very true, especially in today's world. And I mentioned about the internet as well and how that relates to polarization. I feel like being in. Okay, what's wrong with being in the middle anyway?
That's
As
true.
in, like, it seems that the way we think now, or like a lot of people think. Where's Dika, by the way? But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of things, like the way people think right now, is that you can only be like one side or the other, right?
Yeah.
If you're
But
not
there
with
are a lot
us,
of-
you're against us, right? Like you say.
Yeah,
Episode.
things like that. And it's like, yeah, how should I put this? Like, I personally like I value balance a lot. Like, not just in like a lot of things. Like I like having balance, right? So like, just because I believe in something doesn't mean you have to categorize me as something, because like there's a lot of like nuances and like a lot of like aspects to that. So that's why, yeah. And I think what Andrew said about like, especially in like, I guess majors like IR, I would say like for now it's like majors in a lot of social science majors. And I'm saying this, okay, so for those who might not know, I'm a writing tutor. So I do tutorials, writing tutorials at school. I read essays of freshmen, and then one of the patterns I notice like these days, there's a lot of freshmen, especially when they come to like this kind of major, they come with an activist mindset. So like they.
Wait, what's
So when they
what's
come-
on the other side of the spectrum? So you have activist mindset, and what's on the,
I would say curiosity.
okay.
Sometimes there's a lack of curiosity, in a sense that you come here, like you come to like this major because maybe you have big dreams and you want to try to contribute to peace, right? And you have your own beliefs on how that peace is supposed to be achieved. So in your papers and everything, or in your when you're on campus, you try to fight for that belief, right? But at the same time, when you're on campus, this is the place where you can learn, where you're supposed to learn about different perspectives and all that. So like, you have to like open yourself to like a lot of different perspectives to actually learn about like what they're talking about, so that they also it also enriches like your knowledge, and it also like helps you develop your own beliefs as well, right? But the thing is, I think a lot of new students, they come here with a fixed mindset, like, okay, this is what I believe in, and that is reflected in the essays that they write as well. So, for example, they exclude like some data. For example, they exclude data that doesn't support like their arguments and stuff like that. Instead of saying that, okay, but this side says this, however, I'm gonna counter it, blah blah, something like that. So,
Interesting.
I mean, it's a very rookie mistake. I'm sure like when they're in second year and third year, they're gonna improve a lot. But I see like this kind of activist mindset kind of pattern, like in especially in the newer students. And I think, well, my point is basically you have to be open to like these like different ideas and try to process them. Yeah.
Okay, before we, take the very overtime, I guess I would ask a last question for everyone. So, what do you think the role the youth can play in achieving peace, and what would be your advice to them?
The youth.
Yeah, because like
Wow.
we are youth, we try to.
We have the platform.
No, I mean, I think I pretty much said what I wanted to say here, and I think what I've mentioned like earlier also relates to this question. So, like, first of all, have a conversation. Second, like, you can focus on your direct environment first before you try to achieve like if you like, I don't know, there's this book called 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson. I read that book. It has a lot of good advice personally for me. And one of the advice is clean your room. And what it basically means that with your room,
My room. Oh no.
basically the idea behind that is that before you try to like achieve something big, you have to start from the environment that you have control over. For example, your room. We have control over that room. So like try to solve the issues that you have in your room before you try to like go big. So like start with your direct environment. Try to find like conflicts. Maybe if you see someone getting bullied, try to stop them. Or like a lot of things like in your direct environment.
I have no control over that, Joe. I'm sorry. But yeah, I guess for me, I think my previous question and your guys' answer kind of summarized it. Do your own research and realize that you have the platform. So be really careful with what you say, and have a conversation that really, really like rings true. That really is that really resonates with me in what I believe will bring peace. We are in the era of democracy. Maybe for some less fortunate people, they don't have that benefits. They don't have that privilege of being able to have the freedom of speech. So while we have that, just talk with other people with opposing beliefs maybe, and like Joe's mentioned, even if you don't believe in one side, doesn't mean you have to fight the other side.
How about you, Dika?
I think Joe and Andrew already mentioned most of the part that I want to explain, but I always remember during my time in uni, my last year, before I write my thesis, the professor said, please be asking for like how I do not remember the sentence, but I do vividly remember that my professor says that just do ask everything that comes into your mind, I guess. Isn't it
exactly
like that, Aki? Do you still remember?
Stay curious.
No, but exactly.
Stay curious kind of thing, but I don't remember the sentence. The sentence was quite powerful. So if you do have like a question, just be curious to ask it, or as Joe mentioned, please have a conversation, because I think from that conversation you will gain a new perspective, a new idea, new knowledge, that you will realize that the world is not that small. The world is a big place, that you have a lot of things going on. Yeah.
And if I may add, the world is messy. It's not black and white, which is so like again, have a conversation. That's basically it.
And I mean, like, youth can be like a channel for change, because as you mentioned, we have the platform. So we have like each one has the power to share good information and helpful ones. And advice that I could give them is just to, be a responsible social media user.
That's a hard one.
Like,
Aki. That's a hard one.
Everyone is in social media. Everyone has their Instagram, their Facebook. But the thing is, try to use it in a, positive way. And also, like, if you try to utilize it, you can also learn from it. Like, if you follow, like, accounts that, for example, news. If you don't really watch the news or listen to the news, then follow accounts of, like, news programs. In that way, you can, like, be updated with what's happening in the world. And it's very easy because, like, we all like to scroll in our Instagram.
Right.
So no matter what happens, you will see it. That's how, like, I don't know, like, personally, I do that. Like, I don't have actually the time to check each accounts of, like, news accounts. Because we have a lot, right? So I don't have that time to check each, like, news account. So I just follow them in Instagram so that I keep to be, like, updated as well. I know what's happening around me. So that's like also my way on being, like, aware of the different issues that is currently happening in the world as well.
To add to that, I think, yeah, with the media, I think another, in that case, another way that we can contribute to peace is to like try to increase like our, maybe we can call it media literacy, or like your ability to like process the information that is provided by the media. Because of course, even media are sometimes politicized, right? With some media companies, there are those leaning to one side of the political spectrum and the other. So like try to think critically when you see like a news source, even if it's like from like an official like news companies, or try to follow like news companies from different political spectrum. Like you can actually find that you can try to look that up. I mean, some of them are very obvious, like some of them are very left leaning, some of them are very right leaning. So like you can try to follow like both of them to see how like they report like the issues as well. So
That's
like increase your media literacy. That's what.
Broaden your perspective and don't be a mob. Okay, don't follow the mob mentality.
Right.
Yeah, just think before you click, guys.
But still, click that share button. Thank you very much. Self-plug. But I guess that's the gist of it, right?
That's it for us, I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is our last episode.
Right.
Are we gonna have a second season?
Are we going to have another season, I guess, Aki?
Oops.
Confidential.
Watch out. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Let us know if ever we create another season. Let us know what you wanna, what topics you want us to talk about. That is related to peace, of course.
Yeah.
Like, what issues do you think we should discuss? Or like, what format do you want us to do? Do you want us to see in a more casual manner?
Just generally, like, give us your feedback. And then we'll see.
We're open to any feedbacks you have. That's it, guys.
That's it, right?
That's it, guys.
Thank you very much.
I
Thank you for
enjoyed,
listening. Thank you for staying with us until the 8th episode we have.
This is the 9th.
Nine.
The
Nine plus episode 0.
Yeah, with episode 0, it's 9.
9th.
I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun recording this, honestly.
I also enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a lot of learnings.
Right?
Yeah, and takeaways.
All right.
And thank you, everyone. I hope we see you soon as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully. If ever we... Yeah.
And maybe on the next season, Aki will finally bring out her dog to the screen.
Who knows?
What?
I'll introduce you my beloved dog.
Okay.
All right. Then
that's for us.
That's
Thank
us.
you, everyone. Peacing out.
That's us.
All right.
That's us.
Peacing out.
That's us.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out. Bye bye.